Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest breaking Manchester United news as Antony, Manchester United's winger, confirms that he will be taking a leave of absence from playing games for Manchester United. It's a big statement. It has a big impact on Manchester United. I'm not surprised about it if I'm being completely honest, but it means he will not be playing games for Manchester United. Who knows how long? Man United have released a statement as well. This is basically what Antony has said. I have agreed with Manchester United to take a period of absence while I address the allegations made against me. I want to reiterate my innocence of the things I've been accused of, and I will fully cooperate with the police. So that's where we're at with Antony at the moment. And look, I'm not surprised by this. I think logically, we've spoken about it over the last few days about whether Manchester United would suspend him. Actually, I don't know the ins and outs of this, but this might be quite a clever thing from Manchester United to not directly suspend him, but sort of say, look, mate, you lead from the front on this and say that you need a bit of time away. The interesting thing for me is, and we'll read the Manchester United statement in a moment, is that this has been done in conjunction with Richard Arnold, the CEO of Manchester United, and of course the manager Erik ten Hag. The interesting thing from my point of view is I don't really know how the Brazilian judicial system works, but look, talking about the UK, the Mason Greenwood case from initially coming out to initially, to it being dropped, because the case was dropped, of course. Remember, the police didn't feel that they had they could take it to the courts. That was a year. I don't know how you're going to deal with this in a matter of weeks. In the immediate future, just to clarify what a leave of absence is, Antony will not play against Brighton. He will not play against Bayern Munich. Beyond that, is it a week? It's probably going to be a lot longer than a week. I mean, from a football, let's just hit the footballing point of view. We lost Jadon Sancho for 3 months last year, and at the start of a very important season. How long are we going to lose Antony now in what is a very important season? This is an £85 million player. It was a £75 million player last year. The Ronaldo stuff, the Greenwood stuff. As I've said before, people say that this club is cursed. I don't think it's cursed. I just think it makes lots of bad decisions, and that's why we attract bad things like this happening, like, flies around shit, I suppose. It's and I'm not in any way saying that Antony is guilty or anything like that, but some people seem to think we're cursed. We're not cursed. We don't do enough due diligence around the characters and players that we have at this football club in relation to recruitment and cost. And even a simple thing like, how much we paid for Antony puts pressure on the club now, because it's an £85 million player that we should have paid 50 for because we overpaid. So there's all sorts of things, but ultimately the club is just badly run. I think we know that, but we're dealing with this in relation to Antony. He is not guilty. Like I've been shown stuff today from people saying he did it. Like, yeah, you were there, were you? You know he's done it. You've got a hunch. Be very careful about what you're saying publicly because you've got no inside information. You can't guess on these sort of things. I actually think it's the right decision for Antony. I think it impacts Man United. If he was out injured for 3 months, we'd say that's a loss. Him taking a leave of absence because of serious allegations, it's still a loss on a footballing level. Wherever your morals are, it's still a loss. He's saying he's innocent. Obviously, other people are saying he's not. That needs to be resolved. How long is it going to take? What impact is it going to have on Manchester United? It's just another nightmare scenario in a season that's not started off very well for Manchester United. Dean says, watch how many more investigations on players will appear now. What happened to innocent till proven guilty just doesn't sit right with me, says Dean. And Antony's basically suspended. Those statements from the club and Antony are PR statements. Arnold changed his decision within a week again, says Daniel Shabar. Well, let me read you the Manchester United statement. So Antony said that he's agreed with Manchester United to take a period of absence while he addresses the allegations against him. This is what Manchester United have had to say in their official statement, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about this because I think it's very different to what's being said. Manchester United acknowledges the allegations made against Antony. Players who have not participated in international matches are due back in training on Monday. However, it's been agreed with Antony that he will delay his return until further notice in order to address the allegations. As a club, we condemn acts of violence and abuse. We recognise the importance of safeguarding all those involved in the situation and acknowledge the impact these allegations have on survivors. So this reads to me that it's a very much a an open dialogue between Man United and Antony, and it basically says that it's been agreed with Antony that he will delay his return. Now, is that coming from Antony? Is it coming from the club? If you read what Antony says, he says, I've agreed with Manchester United to take a period of absence. You can read that so many ways. It's very clever wording, actually. I've agreed, and United are saying they've agreed with Antony. But, if I've agreed to sell my car and the person who's buying my car has agreed to buy it from me, who led the negotiations and who delivered the price? We both agreed on it, but who was leading it? Is it United who've put pressure on Antony? Has Antony said, I need to walk away for a bit? We won't know. We won't know, and that's why, in many ways, it's it leaves that ambiguity, doesn't it? But I feel that I think it's the right choice. I've got to say it's the right choice. My big concern is obviously whether any of the allegations actually are true, and if they are, we can't be hypocrites in relation to what's happened with Mason Greenwood. But also, I think that just knowing Antony, the footballer at Manchester United, he's ridiculously petulant. And that comes across as aggressive, it comes across as passionate, and that's absolutely fine. I've seen this from Rooney in the past. It's that out of control, petulance sometimes that we like in a player because it shows that they care. My concern with him was that as soon as he puts a Man United shirt on in the Premier League and at an away ground, he is going to get absolute abuse. And you wonder about a young player like that with that aggressive side to them in relation to how passionate they play the game. Is he a red card waiting to happen? Is it going to impact the way he's playing? They're serious allegations. Sometimes you've got to look at it and go, actually, you know what? Innocent, guilty, or wherever this is going to go, what good would he be on the pitch for Man United anyway? I mean, it's not like he's flying, is it? It's not like he's playing brilliant at the moment anyway. He's a very up and down type of player. And is this the sort of thing that's going to, make him, deteriorate? So, look, of course there's a duty of care in relation to the allegations. Of course there is. They're very serious allegations. But there's also a duty of care to Antony, as there was as an employer for Mason Greenwood as well. You've got to, whether you want to do it or not, you've got to do that. And I think United have to do that. And from a footballing point of view, it's obviously very, very disappointing that the squad that's not great or at the moment is now weaker. But that's a reflection on the way the club's run and how weak it is. I think the logical thing in this situation is to do exactly what's been done for a multitude of reasons. To take him out of the firing line, some people would say. To focus on the allegations more importantly, certainly. I think it's the right move. It's just it's obviously damaging for our season. Of course it is, because it's, as I said, on a very footballing level, it's the equivalent of losing a player injured for a number of weeks. But obviously we know it's not an injury; it's something very, very serious.